Messiah died on Wednesday. He was crucified on Wednesday. Then he rose at the evening of Sabbath. When you miss it, then you'll have the reason as to why you will crash and gnash your teeth because you have missed it. And you have missed it because you have been misled.
He was buried on?
He was buried on the same Wednesday evening.
On the same Wednesday?
Yes. He was crucified on Wednesday. Then he is buried on Wednesday evening because...
How are the days of the week counted? How do we know that it was Wednesday? Because we also want to understand this counting of the weeks.
Yes.
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 Okay, good afternoon, my friends. Good afternoon, everybody there. Today we want to embark on our program and the teachings concerning the festivals of from the Christmas festivals, and now we want to understand how these festivals came to be known about and how were these festivals carried on. So today we are having Brother Bernard, our teacher, our pastor, is going to teach us on how these festivals were held and how, which month, and according to which seasons, and their meanings also. So welcome, Brother Bernard.
Thank you, my sister. And also thank you to our viewers. I would also like to say good afternoon. I know you might be wondering as to why, but I know because some of you will be viewing these videos at night. But it's because we are taking them noon time. It is noon now. Thank you, my sister, as you have said. Yeah, we have been teaching about, last month we were talking about Christmas, and I said that Christmas is all about the birth of Messiah. But when was he born? And from the previous teachings, I showed you that Messiah was not born on 25th of December. Now today, I want us to check the festivals that Yahweh our Elohim gave to the children of Israel, and in turn the children of Israel were to give these festivals to the entire world. These festivals were not meant for the children of Israel. No. The children of Israel were to be the priesthood of Elohim to the whole world. And when they failed to execute their duty as priests, that is why when Messiah came, he didn't follow the Levitical priesthood. He just picked now people who were apostles from the entire tribes of Israel. Judah, Levi, Issachar, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Asher. They all came from those tribes. They were not specifically from the Levitical family, because the Levitical family had failed in their mandate. They had been given to do the duty of priesthood to the entire world. Now, when Messiah comes, that's why you'll see that when the apostles took over from the Messiah, they began to spread this word, especially Apostle Shaul, or Paul as you call him. But his true name is Apostle Shaul. Shaul is a Hebrew name, meaning desired one, because he had desirable things for the church. So he is the one that takes the mandate of spreading the gospel to the whole world, where he was able to reach. And after that now, the word has gone and it is all over and it has reached us in our generation. That was the intention of Yahweh our Elohim giving these festivals to the children of Israel so that they can spread this word that has got festivals in them to the whole world. Now, we are going to check the scriptures, how Yahweh Elohim gave these festivals. And we are going to read it from the book of Leviticus, or the testimony of Leviticus, or to the Leviticus. Now, the Leviticus, these were the sons of Levi. And Levi was the one that was given the mandate of priesthood amongst his brothers. Now, before these Levites were ordained into priesthood at the age of 30, they were supposed to go through their teachings that were written to them as Levites. And this is all about the testimony of Leviticus. They were to read this testimony of Leviticus so that they can get to understand everything. Now, when they carry out the mandate of priesthood at their age of 30 onwards, they would have understood how they were instructed to do their duty as Levites in the book of Leviticus. Let me use that word for your understanding. Now, even to us Gentiles, that when we come to priesthood, when we come to be pastors, when we come to be teachers of the word, we need to read the book of Leviticus and understand the instructions to the Leviticus, because before we become pastors, before we are ordained into pastors, we have got that period of learning. Maybe you go to a theological school. During that period also, you need to be taught about the book of Leviticus so that you can understand these things. Now, if you come to priesthood, if you come to be a pastor, you begin executing the work of a pastor, and yet you don't understand the book of Leviticus, then you will find that you will be in error. But today, I want us to check what the Leviticus, the Levites, were instructed before they became priests. Now, let us read from chapter 23 of Leviticus from verse 1, my sister. That's where we are going now. We are checking the scriptures, what they say. Leviticus is just right at the beginning, immediately after Exodus. Walawi. Yeah.
This one is in Swahili.
Yes. Our sister is going to read it from the Swahili version.
Walawi, how much?
23.
23.
Yes. 23.
20. This one is 20.
11. Go forward.
23.
Yes. Leviticus chapter 23.
23.
Walawi, mambo ya Walawi ama mashauri kwa Walawi katika mlango wa 23. Mafundisho kwa Walawi.
23 from?
From verse 1.
From verse 1.
Yes.
Okay, I'm reading in Kiswahili. It says, Kisha Yahweh akanena na Musa na akamwambia.
Huyu ni Yahweh ananena na Musa na kumwambia.
Nena na wana wa Israeli na kuambia siku kuu za Yahweh ambazo mtazipigia mbiu kuwa ni makusanyiko matakatifu.
Ya kwamba Yahweh ananena na Musa awaambie wana wa Israeli ya kwamba siku kuu za Yahweh. Shika vizuri sana. Whenever you come to read the scriptures, understand what they say. Why am I saying this? Because most of us, we always say that these are the festivals of the Jews. And yet, Yahweh Elohim himself here is telling Moses that tell the children of Israel that the festivals of Yahweh that you will proclaim as holy convocations, even these are my festivals. Now, the festivals belongs to Yahweh. Does not belong to the children of Israel. When the children of Israel came out of Egypt, they never knew about these festivals. So it is Elohim who is giving them, to the children of Israel. So the same way, we Gentiles, if we love the Elohim of Israel, this is what we are supposed to keep. Let us continue, my sister.
Okay.
Verse 2.
Hizi ni siku kuu zangu. Mtafanya kazi siku 6, lakini siku ya 7 ni sabato ya kustarehe kabisa.
Siku 6 mtafanya kazi, na siku ya 7 ni sabato ya kustarehe kabisa.
Kusanyiko takatifu, msifanye kazi ya namna yoyote, ni sabato kwa Yahweh katika makao yenu yote.
Ya kwamba ni siku kuu ya kustarehe kabisa, hamtafanya kazi ya namna yoyote. Ni sabato ya Yahweh katika makao yenu yote, in all your dwelling places. Now, Elohim is first giving us a Sabbath as a festival. The Sabbath is a festival that runs every week. You work for 6 days, then the 7th day is a festival, is a feast of Elohim. You cease from your work. Now, the significance of a Sabbath, you will find it in Exodus chapter 31, verse 12. You will read that. Exodus chapter 31, verse 12. It says that the Sabbath is a sign. Yahweh Elohim says that we keep a Sabbath because it is a sign between us and Him.
And before you continue there, hapa maandiko yanatuambia usifanye kazi yoyote ya namna yoyote, ya namna yoyote katika makao yenu yote.
Yes.
And there is a quote whereby Yeshua Messiah was asked, what about if your donkey falls into
a pit?
Will you leave it?
Now, that one, he said it because he had been confronted by the Pharisees and the Sadducees about what he was doing. You know, on the Sabbath, people used to come to him, the sick. And even sometimes also he used to go to places of worship and find sick people there. Then but he will heal them.
If you quote this verse and apply what Yeshua Messiah did, that is Jesus. Now, don't you think that there is a bit contradicting? Because here the reading says, the word says, Jesus answered them and told them, if your donkey or your animal drops into a pit, will you leave it? And here, the reading says in Kiswahili, ni sabato kwa Yahweh katika makao yenu yote. Usifanye kazi ya namna yoyote.
Okay. The work that is being told here, it's about kazi ya ajira. Are we together?
Kazi ya ajira.
Yes.
As
because when you get some
of eating, of providing for your families, or
actually kazi ya ku-earn.
Okay.
Earning. Because here the scripture says, unapocheck some scriptures, they say kazi ya utumishi. Msifanye kazi yoyote ya utumishi. Now, kazi ya utumishi hapa inamaanisha ni kazi ambayo unafanya kama ya kulipwa. Unafanya kulipwa. So hiyo kazi ya kufanywa kulipwa ndio usifanye.
Okay.
Ama unafanya ku gain money. It can be a business. Yes, because you are earning money. So hiyo kazi hiyo yote ya kulipwa hiyo yenye inahusisha mambo na biashara. yenye inahusisha na mambo na ajira, because that's why utakapoangalia utaona ya kwamba hata yule mchakazi aliyoko katika nyumba yako hiyo siku, maana hiyo kazi yake kwa nyumba yako ni ya utumishi, analipwa. So hiyo siku ya Sabato anakuwa exempted asifanye. Are we together?
Okay.
So inaongea kazi ya utumishi. Some translations have employed that word, kazi ya utumishi. Msifanye kazi yoyote ya utumishi. There are some translations that have missed that word. So the work that is being spoken here, brethren, is the work that involves payment. At the end of it, you are going to be paid. Now, when Messiah talked about getting somebody or healing somebody on the Sabbath, he's not talking about, like, let us say, mambo na medication or whatever. I know you will come up with such a questions to ask. But, you know, the scripture says obedience is better than sacrifice. So you need to obey what Elohim has said, that you work for 6 days. The 6 days he has given you to work also, it involves you to have dominion. That you reign for 6 days. You reign for 6 days. You rule for 6 days. And that is why I've also said that when you check Genesis, Elohim say that the purpose of creating us is that we may have dominion. But you will find that most of us are not having dominion. We are still struggling in life. You have never even had any dominion. Hata biashara yako hauienjoy, maana haujafikiria ile kiwango cha kutawala. Sio biashara ikutawale, kazi isikutawale, ni wewe utawale kazi. Ni wewe unaamua ni nini cha kufanya lini. Sio kazi ikudictate ni nini ambacho utafanya, maana ndiwe ulioianzisha. Sasa lazima utawale kwa hizi siku 6, utawale hiyo kazi na ikuletee mapato. Ifikirie ile kiwango cha kukuletea mapato kwa siku 6. Then hii siku ya 7 unaenda kumshukuru Yahweh kwa namna ambavyo amekuwezesha kutawala hizo siku 6. Lakini kama vile nimesema ya kwamba hata wengi wetu siku hizi tukienda kanisani hata sio kumshukuru Yahweh kwa utawala ambao tumekuwa nao kwa siku 6, bali tunaenda, mambo yamekuwa sege mnege, hatutawali, tunatawaliwa. Mapepo yanatutawala, magonjwa yanatutawala, hali ya uchumi inatutawala. Hata hatuna muda sasa na huyu muumba kuheshimu neno lake kwa sababu ya kazi, hali ya maisha. Lakini Yahweh mpango wake kwako ni kwamba yeye anataka wewe ukontrol hii hali ya uchumi wako. Ukiliheshimu neno lako, anasema ya kwamba utakuwa juu na wala hautakuwa chini. Hii mambo ya kukua kichwa wala sio mkia haimaanishi tu katika mambo ya masomo ya watoto wako ati ndio nawaambia kwamba hamtakuwa vichwa na wala sio mkia. Inamaanisha hata pia katika hali ya uchumi ya maisha yako ya kwamba you will always be at the top. Katika hali yako ya uchumi ukue juu wala sio chini. So ukimheshimu baba wetu Yahweh, hata katika masuala ya uchumi utakuwa juu. Wewe utakuwa unakopesha na wala hautakopa, ukimheshimu baba wetu Yahweh katika hizi siku ambazo tunaziangalia. Na watu wengi saizi, hata ukiuliza watu madeni yenye wanayo, utapata ya kwamba mtu saizi ana, especially wa Kenya, utapata apps zimekuja za kukopa. Watu wana madeni mpaka wameshindwa kulipa, mpaka kuna laini zenye tumeng'oa kwa simu, tumetupa tukanunua laini zingine kwa sababu tunadaiwa left, right and center. Lakini Yahweh Elohim hakupanga hivi. Alitaka sisi tunapomheshimu tukafurahie maisha. Tukienda siku ya 7 unaenda kusherekea utawala, unaenda kusherekea maisha, sio kwenda kulia kufanya nini. Siku ya Sabato unapoenda usherekee, ni siku kuu ya kusherekea. Unasherekea vile siku 6 zimekuwa kwako. So for 6 days amesema ya kwamba you work, then the 7th day is a Sabbath. So when you come to the Sabbath, you are coming to celebrate the creation and dominion that Yahweh Elohim has given in your hands. That you have been able to create something in your life. You have created a business and it is working for you. You have created something that you know and it is working for you. You have created a job. You have created a company and it is working for you. So you come to celebrate. You come to give thanks. Because as Elohim is a creator, so are we. We have to create things in our lives. We have been given the brain. We have been given the knowledge, the wisdom to execute things in our lives and they come to be. So, the first festival is the weekly Sabbath and it has got a significance. When you read 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8, it says, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day before Yahweh. So, the 6 days is a prophetic shadow picture of 6,000 years that man has to have dominion over earth. Then the Sabbath, which is the 7th day, it is the 7th millennium, 1,000 years according to Revelation, whereby the Messiah now will reign here on earth, will come the second time, and he will have dominion over this earth. He will reign for 1,000 years on earth. So that is why you have to keep the Sabbath, because it's a prophetic shadow picture that man is going to have dominion over the earth for 6,000 years. Then the 7,000 year shall be the sabbatical millennium of the reign of Messiah, when he will come the second time. So that's the significance of the Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath. So we celebrate, we work for 6 days, then the 7th day Sabbath every week in our lifetime and generations after generations. We keep this because that is the prophetic shadow picture as to why we work for 6 days, then the 7th day we are allowing ourselves, surrendering to our Elohim. Just as now the 7th millennium, Messiah will come and we will surrender to him, that he will reign with us. So you can't afford to miss to keep the Sabbath. When you miss it, then you'll have the reason as to why you will crash and gnash your teeth, because you have missed it. And you have missed it because you have been misled. That we keep the first day of the week as a day of worship because this is the day that Messiah rose from the dead. We are going to see in these festivals that he never ever rose on Sunday. He never ever rose on Sunday. I can assure you, even as we begin it. So, Sunday was never the day that Messiah rose from the dead. And you cannot make any day to be a Sunday, to be a Sabbath day. You can't. No man, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. When Messiah says that the Sabbath was created for man, what does he mean? That it is already there for you. There is nothing you are coming to add or to change. If it were made for man, then we can change. We can take it from where it is and put it on any other day. The second day, the third day, the fourth day of the week, whichever day you want to put it. If you were created for it.
Before you proceed, my brother, from
Yes.
there. Now, according to your biblical understanding, the way you have analyzed it, when was specifically Jesus Christ died and buried and resurrected? Because
Yes.
our fellow viewers, those events usually zinachanganya watu.
Yeah.
So we want to learn. We want to know exactly how this Old Testament and the New Testament imetuchanganya. We want to understand.
Okay. When did the Messiah die? And when did he rise from the dead? Messiah died on Wednesday. He was crucified on Wednesday. Then he rose at the evening of Sabbath.
It was buried on?
He was buried on the same Wednesday evening.
On the same Wednesday?
Yes. He was crucified on Wednesday. Then he is buried on Wednesday evening because...
How are the days of the week counted? How do we know that it was Wednesday? Because we also want to understand this counting of the weeks.
Yes.
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 The way you have taught us the days of the months.
Yes.
Yes. How do we know it was Wednesday?
Because Daniel, when he was prophesying about the children of, when Angel Gabriel gave him the revelation of the children of Israel coming out of captivity to Messiah, he gave him about 70 weeks
70 weeks.
prophecy of Daniel. That is in Daniel chapter 9, when you read from verse 20 to verse 26 there, 6 or 7. That is when Daniel says that 70 weeks are determined upon your people. And he lays what is going to happen between that period of 70 weeks of years. Then the second layer, as I said in the previous, in a continuation of this video, I said yesterday here, that the second layer of Daniel's prophecy was literally the ministry of Yeshua according to the prophecy of Daniel, whereby he says that he will confirm the covenant with the many for 62 weeks.
For 62 weeks.
Yes.
So I will want to...
And after 62 weeks, that is week 63 of Yeshua's ministry. During that week 63 of Yeshua's ministry, in the midst of that week 63.
So kidogo hapo, we want to understand these days as from Monday, how was days counted in a week? So that even our fellow viewers should know exactly which date they are supposed to worship.
Okay, when you check the scriptures, they have never given the days of the week the names. Okay?
Yes. That is why we want us to learn, to understand. How did this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to Friday, until Sunday came about?
That's a good question. Now, to our viewers, the days of the week are never given names in the scripture. That's in Genesis chapter 1. During creation period. They are just given day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. The seventh day is the one that has got a name, Sabbath.
The 8th day.
The seventh day.
The 7th day.
Yes. It is the only one that the scriptures has given a name, Sabbath. But these other days, they are not given a name. They are just plainly day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Another, day 6 also is known as the preparation day. They do not have a name. Now, how did it come about to be known as Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Now, this was instituted by the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is the one that came up with the naming of days. And these names, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, are dedicated to the Roman deities.
And these are still the Romans that brought this about confusion in the Bible.
Yes. It is the Roman Empire that was ruling during the days of Messiah.
Our fellow viewers, wapendo watazamaji, leteni maswali hapa. na majibu.
That is in
We are learning.
you can check Daniel, the prophecy of Daniel, the statue in Daniel chapter 2. The statue which Nebuchadnezzar dreamed, and he forgot the dream. Then he demanded from the astrologers and the diviners and sorcerers of Babylon to come and tell him the dream and tell him the interpretation. Now when they came, they said, tell us the dream and we will tell you the interpretation. I said, I don't remember the dream. But tell me the dream. Unless you tell me the dream, I will kill each one of you. So they said, it has never happened such like a thing in any kingdom. You tell us the dream, then we will tell you the interpretation. So he threatened to kill them if they don't tell him the dream and also tell him the interpretation. Now, it was Daniel who was brought to salvage this situation. And he told Nebuchadnezzar that there is an Elohim in heaven who can give dreams and tell the interpretations. Give me 3 days. And after 3 days, I'll come and tell you the dream and tell you the interpretation. So Daniel went. After 3 days, he came back. And he told Nebuchadnezzar that during your sleeping, you dreamed almost high.
Okay.
King.
Wacha wapenda watazamaji, wacha tuende break kidogo, alafu tutarudi.
Yes.
Mambo yamechamka hapa.
Kabisa.
Hey.
Tuko tayari
Kaeni
kuelezea kila kitu.
Well.